Any pick is a risk, some more than others. Darnell Wright does not seem like much of a risk right now. How about his showing at the NFL Combine? The former Tennessee offensive tackle, former five-star recruit coming out of high school, that comes for a reason. When you have the size, the athleticism, boy, did he show it off at the Combine. Darnell entered the weekend, or last week in Indianapolis, as a projected first-round pick. Now you're seeing some people say, yeah, he might be a lock as a first-round pick, and I think that's probably the case. Now it seems how high in the first round can he climb, because you're seeing more projections in the teens for Darnell Wright after he showed up at that size running close to a 5-flat 40-yard dash.
I mean, it was basically a 5-flat.
Yeah, 501.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 5-flat. And the explosion, the quickness, his length, his agility, his speed, I mean, then you look at his tape and you turn that on and you see what he did versus some of the SEC's best pass rushers. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. First-round pick, one of the best tackles of all time, Joe Thomas, that probably could have played an extra 5 years and played at a high level, decided to hang him up early and works as an analyst for NFL Network. I mean, he's all over Darnell Wright. Everyone is all over Darnell Wright. Louis Riddick, ESPN, spoke highly about Darnell Wright. He is that guy. First-round lock. He should be. And if I'm the Titans, you look at where Rand Carthon came from, the GM of the Titans now, and who was the best tackle in the league? That's Trent Williams, plays for the 49ers.
Yep.
You don't think Rand understands how important a tackle is? And they just got rid of a first-round tackle in Taylor Lewan because of injury concerns. So if I'm the Titans, I'm looking at a quarterback, I'm looking at receivers, and I'm looking at Darnell Wright.
It is an offseason of change. Bud Dupree is being released. That news comes out this morning with the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry is on the market, according to reports this morning. So they're making some changes. But if you are trying to start a new era, having somebody that can be a high-level tackle is a pretty good way to start. And you're right, Taylor Lewan moving on. It is a new era that Tennessee is entering. He was really good for them for a decade. Dealt with injuries, but was a really good player. Darnell could be that for a long time, too.
We see all the time where teams swing the pendulum in the opposite direction. We've seen it as Tennessee fans where Tennessee went out, you fired Coach Former, you bring in Lane Kiffin, someone totally opposite. It didn't work out, and then you hired someone else that was totally opposite from Lane Kiffin and Derek Dooley, and then you get rid of Derek Dooley, and you go out and hire someone that not totally opposite than Derek Dooley, but different. And then you did the same thing in Pruitt. And then you did the same thing here with Josh Heupel. Went from defense to totally offense. So we've seen decisions being made where the pendulum swings in the opposite direction. If you're not successful before, I mean, I can see the Titans doing that with Taylor Lewan being a guy who was injury-riddled, who was a first-round pick, really, really good coming out of Michigan. Well, Darnell Wright, he doesn't have any injury concerns. That's the first thing I'm thinking about. If I'm the Tennessee Titans, I'm going, hey, man, we released the guy because he had a bunch of injury concerns. Here's a guy in our backyard, and he has been the most consistent player in terms of being available that we've seen in tackle for a very long time. We got to get him. We got to pick him up. So it just kind of makes sense for the Titans to grab Darnell Wright.
VFL Jason Swain, we can also bring this conversation back to the University of Tennessee.
Always.
Darnell Wright was a five-star prospect. He was a guy his first couple of years who played but did not play at a high level in the SEC. His last 2 years at Tennessee, he continued to get better and better. His senior year, he was an elite tackle. He was the best player Will Anderson at Alabama said he went up against at the tackle position this year. Darnell Wright is a player that was praised by Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl with the improvement he made at Tennessee. And then he shows up so impressively at the Combine to, it appears, earn himself a spot in the first round of the NFL Draft. Glenn Ellerby noticed the praise that Joe Thomas was offering up. By the way, who would have guessed that Glenn Ellerby, respected offensive line coach, is also a pun guy, because he said that Thomas nailed Nell''D, the assessment Darnell. So love that. But this is something you take to recruits and say, from 5-star to maybe not going to pan out to now a lock in the first round, who helped him get there? You take that to the recruiting trail.
Darnell mastered every checkpoint this year for a first-round player. His tape is unbelievable. His tape is unbelievable versus the best of the best pass rushers in the SEC. You look at what he did at the Senior Bowl. So he goes down there versus the nation's best seniors, handles business there. Then he goes to the Combine, where you may be walking down the hall and walk past Jerry Jones. You may walk past Robert Kraft. You may walk past just any regular GM. And there is a such thing as performance anxiety, test anxiety. That is a thing. So think about all the players that probably didn't perform the way they wanted to perform because they were so nervous. That's a real thing. Darnell Wright mastered that. He mastered the running. He mastered the agility. He mastered the on-field drills. He mastered everything. He has mastered everything in front of him this entire year. He's a first-rounder. Why are you playing? Don't make this complicated, NFL teams. He's a first-rounder.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. And when people that they respect offer up those opinions, Nagy, Joe Thomas, they'll talk amongst themselves. It's going to be an easy pick. I'd be surprised at this point if Darnell gets past pick number 20. So we'll see, and it's a competitive field still. But when you're that size and you move that way and you have the tape and you have all the comments around you being so positive, it was a good week for Darnell Wright.
So happy for him. So happy for him. He is someone that he was a little uncomfortable, I think, during the recruiting process because he is I think he's a natural introvert. Like he's just chill, relaxed. He didn't make a big deal about his recruitment. We saw other 5-star tackles do a little bit more, be a little bit more extra in recruiting. That wasn't Darnell Wright. Even during his time here at Tennessee, he was not the person that would run to a microphone or run to a camera. But we saw him grow in that area year by year by year, getting more confidence. And, doing Tennessee Prime the last 2 years, last year, it was cool to see Kay Mays kind of wrap his arm around a guy like Darnell Wright. And Kay has an unbelievable personality. Cooper, same thing, unbelievable personality. And start to see Darnell's personality come out, his confidence grow. And I think Glenn Ellerbe was a perfect coach for him. We saw the best of Darnell. We saw what Darnell was supposed to be when he signed at Tennessee as a 5-star. I think Glenn Ellerbe got the best out of him. You throw in maturity and all that stuff, that plays a part in it too. But kudos to Glenn Ellerbe because I think he got a lot out of Darnell. And you give credit to, other coaches that coach Darnell, but you cannot not give Glenn Ellerbe his credit. The same way that, Don Mahoney had Juwan James later in Juwan's career, who was also a first-round pick. Shout out to Webb, who got Mahoney as the head coach. But it takes a village, and there's so many people, I think, that deserves credit for where Darnell Wright is right now, but mainly himself for stepping up and making it happen.